This is a new series where in each episode I'll try to tell us a true story from a different country around the world. If you want me to tell a story from your country, just write down the name of your country below in the comments. Paragliding has always been one of my favorite hobbies, so I thought to myself, what better way to begin than with a paragliding story? So for the very first episode, we're starting with a woman who almost got killed by this hobby. The year is 2007, we're in Manila, New South Wales, Australia. The FAI World Paragliding Championship is set to go. Hundreds of pilots from all over the globe have gathered here, men and women, all with one goal: to fly higher, to travel farther, to master the wind better than anyone else. And among them was also Ewa. Sorry, I can't pronounce her last name. A German paraglider of Polish origin, one of the most accomplished athletes in the sport with an international record of experience and success. So as you understand, she wasn't a newcomer. For the new competitors around her, this was just another race, another chance to see who could go higher and who could go farther. But for her, what began as a competition would soon turn to one of the most unbelievable survival stories ever told. During the warm-up flights, the sky began to change. What started as patches of harmless clouds slowly grew darker, heavier, until massive storm clouds began to form above the competition. They weren't ordinary clouds, actually they were Cumulonimbus clouds. They are the giants of the sky and probably the hardest word to pronounce in the English dictionary. A cumulonimbus can rise up to 10 or even 15 kilometers high, stretching from the earth all the way to the cruising altitude of a jet plane. Inside them, the air is alive with chaos, thunder, lightnings, hail, violent winds, and most dangerous of all, powerful updrafts that can drag anything upward at a terrifying speed. In paragliding, we call it cloud suck, when a paraglider is pulled into a rising column of air with no way to escape. Your lightweight wing, which normally gives you control and freedom, becomes useless. To put this in perspective, even a passenger jet would avoid these clouds at all costs. Flying into one of those could mean severe turbulence, engine damage, and even a catastrophe. And here, with nothing but lines and fabric above her head, and believe me, I know the feeling, Ewa was flying straight towards it. For me, I know that you don't go near a cumulonimbus. Actually, if you see one and you're on the ground, I wouldn't even open my canopy. Some of the competitors recognized the danger immediately and tried to steer away. Others pressed on, hoping to slip past before the storm grew worse. But Ewa, she was already caught. A powerful thermal grabbed her glider, and this was the very beginning of the cloud suck. Now, before I continue, it's important to mention that in that same event, another Chinese paraglider was sucked into that cloud and was killed by a lightning strike inside of it. So back to Ewa. She was pulled straight into the storm cloud, and inside the cloud, the force was unimaginable. One moment she was gliding, and the next she was being hurled upward at a terrifying speed, faster than an elevator, faster than she could ever process. To be precise, imagine being pushed into the sky at over 80 kilometers an hour with no brakes and no way to stop. Higher and higher she went, thousands of meters in just minutes. Soon she was climbing past 9,000 meters, 10,000 meters, the cruising altitude of a commercial airliner. But she wasn't inside a sealed cabin with oxygen and heat. She was exposed completely at the mercy of the storm. Lightning cracked around her, flashes of white and blue tearing through the cloud. The temperatures plunged below freezing and her body began to go numb. At that altitude, the air thins to almost nothing. Oxygen is scarce. Every breath feels weaker than the last. Now, the human body simply isn't built to survive here, not without protection, not without oxygen tanks, and Ewa's vision became blurred. Her muscles refused to respond and her mind grew foggy as the storm raged around her. And then she lost consciousness, drifting helplessly inside the storm. For most people, this would have been the end. No one should survive at 10,000 meters, surrounded by lightning, frozen solid, and cut off from air. This is the moment where any listener, any viewer is certain this is where her story ends. But Ewa's story was different. For more than half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, Ewa drifted unconscious inside the heart of the storm, but then, against all odds, she woke up. Her body was stiff, it was coated with ice, her gloves, her helmet, even the glider itself was covered in frost. But one thing had kept her from falling to her death. Her paraglider has not collapsed. Through the freezing temperatures and through the violent winds, the wings somehow held its shape. At last, the storm released her. The violent currents that had dragged her upward finally let go, and the clouds spat her out into the open sky. For more than 3 hours, she had been trapped in the sky, unconscious, frozen, surrounded by lightning and storms, and now, after traveling dozens of kilometers away from where she had taken off, she finally descended to the ground, and that's it. She was back to safety. It was nothing short of a medical miracle. By every law of nature, no human being should have survived this altitude, that cold, that lack of oxygen, and yet she walked away. When Eva was asked about what happened, she admitted to never feeling fear because she was unconscious for nearly 40 minutes and she didn't even realize how close she had come to death. Only afterwards, when she learned she had risen higher than a passenger jet, did the reality sink in. Ewa Wiśnierska today lives in Bavaria in Germany, and there, as I heard, she teaches paragliding and runs a company offering courses in personal development. So she's sharing both her flying expertise and the life lesson from her extraordinary experience.